welcome back to Psychology on Demand. So what I wanted to do today was to talk a little bit about how you move from avoidant through to secure using CBT. So I've explained in counselling how this would work, but in CBT it's a little bit different, a little bit more structured, a little bit moving through techniques, and it's not as long. So in counselling it's several years. In CBT we'd be looking at kind of 16 to 20 sessions to do a depression model, but if you wanted to just look at attachment, which isn't a set disorder, you'd be looking at belief systems around unlovable and looking at beliefs about others. So when we look at avoidant, we've got avoidant dismissive and avoidant fearful. Avoidant dismissives would have beliefs that others aren't going to be there for them, and that they're useless. Others are useless, but the self is still unlovable. Okay, so avoidant dismissives are putting others down, but they still don't think they're lovable. Avoidant fearful people think they're not good enough, but they think others are good. They think others have worth, and so what they're doing is they're trying to manage their pain whilst also trying to protect themselves from rejection from others. So their protection thing is to try and reject others before they reject them, which they find really hurtful. And a dismissive also does that, but they're also putting down them, trying to make them smaller in their mind so they don't hurt as much when they're rejected. So these are the two types. So in CBT, what you'd start is with a 5-area model, looking at how it comes up on the surface. You might start with a behavioural ABC. So what this is doing is helping us understand the patterns of pushing others away, of diminishing others so that we don't get hurt. And we're trying to look at this on the surface to understand how these patterns are playing out so that we can see it and change it for ourselves. So this is where the therapist is slowly going from kind of guiding through to handing over the techniques so that the person can become their own therapist in some domains. So this is where it starts, and then in CBT we're slowly going up. So they suggest, because we have these set beliefs, the self is unlovable, others are unattentive, are useless at meeting our needs. They then look at, well, what are our rules and assumptions? So if we're unlovable, never let people close. If others are useless at meeting our needs, never share emotions. And so we create these sets of rules and assumptions to navigate the world. So after looking at the surface level, we then would slowly go up to letting people gently into people's lives, sharing emotion with people and seeing how they respond, and slowly bringing down the wall of an avoidant. Now, there are some arguments that you can never truly change a core belief, but there is lots of research to show that you can change your attachment style over time. So this kind of counters that, and the way I see it is that you can challenge a core belief, but you've got to find an alternative belief. So unlovable needs to find lovable. People are useless needs to find people are attentive. And you have to build up as much evidence. Now this is really tough, because if you've had 6 years of evidence that people don't meet your needs, you're going to need similar on the other side. And I think, so you can change core beliefs, but you don't change it. What you do is create the alternative. And the reason this is not seen to be able to be done is that it's not done in a therapy session. It's done over years. But CBT sets that up to happen. So now we've looked at the counselling approach, which is literally replaying the wounds from the past with the person in the room and healing it in the room. You've got CBT, which is looking at a much more structured way and breaking it down and working as a team. Both have their pros and cons. Some people won't be able just to sit back, review it and work on it in a CBT way. They'll need to do it in a one-to-one way of playing it out. Others will really struggle with that. Actually, the avoidance leads them to intellectualize, to want facts and figures to then get to a place where they feel safe to be emotional. So CBT is really powerful. So they all have their pros and cons as you go through. This is just one route to becoming more secure and learning to convey our emotional worlds, our inner worlds, and allowing loving relationships to build around ourselves. Hope that's been helpful today. Please do put any comments in below if you wanted to add kind of your ideas. If you want to ask more from my knowledge base, I'm happy to answer underneath. I'm always checking this, so anything you put in there should be back to you within a 24-hour period. So yeah, please ask anything. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. See ya. Bye.